I love to hear people's origin stories, like where they came from, what forces shaped them. And you grew up in a big Catholic family in Lafayette, Louisiana. You were the middle of 8 kids, and your parents ran a Cajun restaurant.
Yeah, we just called it food. You know, Cajun was just happened to be where we lived, and so it was a nicer, upper scale Cajun restaurant.
But tell us a little bit about your childhood and what it was like.
mean,
It sounds like it was really fun in many ways,
It was
right?
a lot of us. So I had 4 older brothers, born 5 years apart, and then my parents took a break. And then they had me, and my dad, this was before ultrasound, so they had no idea. They had had 4 little boys, and then finally they had a girl. So I was the star. And my dad kissed the doctor and everything. Then my sister was born 3.5 years later, so she and I were kind of a pair. Then my oldest brother, he was diagnosed with leukemia when he was 5. And so that was part of the break before they got pregnant again. When he went into remission, they decided to keep going with their family. And when I was about 6, he came out of remission and fought the cancer for the next 2 years and died when I was about 9.
It must have been really traumatic for you to lose your brother, and he was 19?
He was 19.
So he had been fighting leukemia for a long time.
What I remember was like trips to the hospital and is he in remission? And, you know, I just remember those conversations and like I was coloring, and when he was getting chemo, you know, in the side room of the doctor's office, my parents would like just walk in the back door for his chemotherapy at the doctor's office. So that was a huge part of my childhood growing up. And I remember driving to Galveston. So we grew up in Lafayette. We used to vacation in Galveston, and Jep had chemo that morning, and he got tired. And so he pulled over at one of those overpasses. And my sister and I played on we were sliding down the underneath of the overpass when my brother slept in the car when he was so tired from chemotherapy. And then he woke up, and we got back in the car, and he drove us to Galveston.
But watching that as a little girl, did that encourage you to become a doctor?
It was a little later in life. So my undergraduate degree is actually in geology. And,
why? Actually, that's
the guys
terrible.
were cute.
The guys were cute.
I needed an extra science, and the guys were cute there, and it didn't seem that hard. So I took the class and kind of fell in love with the science accidentally. And then it was the oil bust in the 80s, and so they had all this scholarship money because no one wanted to major in geology. And I was like, that sounds cool. I'll do that. And I actually loved it as a science. Went to work for 2 years for an oil company. Met my husband at the coffee bar, who's an engineer. And then, I think I want to go to medical school, and he didn't know he'd have to pay for it.